Hi everyone, it's Michelle Carlisle of All In Realtor Team, and I'm here with another community connection on the Park Bench, Wentzville. See, it's almost like a Monday, and it's not. As part of our teacher shout out series, I am here with Laura Kaiman, French teacher here at Timberland High School. So, how are you doing?
I'm great, thank you.
How do you say that in French?
Comment ça va?
Bien?
Bien. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Bien. Yeah. Ça va bien. I'm doing well.
Okay, I took Spanish in high school, so
Hablo
forgive
español
me.
también. Hablo español también. I also speak Spanish.
Okay, I don't speak it that well though. so-
Okay.
I know that most teachers start out with somebody in their past was a great teacher for them. Why do you teach? Why did you decide to become a teacher?
Well, as you would probably expect, my high school French teacher, I had two. I had a male and a female, and they were both terrific, but I really connected with the male. I had him my first and third years of high school, and he just looked like he was having so much fun. And
That's always a bonus at work.
And he had lots of energy, and French was easy for me, and I liked it, and my mom spoke French to me when I was little.
Oh,
and
fun.
and sang French songs to me, and so I had an exposure to it all my life, and so I always knew I wanted to take French. And then I walk into French 1, and I have this, he was a brand new teacher. He had only taught, it was like his second or third year teaching, so he had all that first year energy, and was just loving it.
You got lucky.
And and
Not
so
everyone has a great teacher, which is why we're highlighting a few of them today.
well, and when you're, and any teachers out there, when you first start teaching, you're terrible. But I thought he was everything,
Perspective,
Terrible is probably too strong a word, but I look back and how well I teach now versus how well I taught in the beginning. I did the best I could, and I'm sure I was fine with the kids, you know what I mean? But from my perspective,
what did they have to compare you with, right?
Exactly. So anyway, I thought that was just so fun, and my parents, while they were very successful in their jobs, they always complained about their jobs. I didn't feel like they really liked their jobs so much.
Like, I don't want to do what mom does.
Right. So my mom was a nurse, and my dad was in business. He worked for Monsanto. And so I immediately did not want to study business and did not want to go into medicine because they just complained about their jobs. Now, I understand as an adult that everyone complains about their job, you know what I mean? Like, everyone has things to complain about, no job is perfect. Right, sure. So, but as a young person, you don't have that kind of thought process. Right. So that's just where I went. And when I was going off to college, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to keep speaking French and learning French. I thought maybe I wanted to be an interpreter. That was my original intent. And then I took my first poli-sci class, and I thought, I don't like this, and I can't. And I wanted to like my job, and I knew I couldn't live in Washington D.C. and work my whole career in New York, because that's where the UN is. That was my ultimate goal, was to be an interpreter for the UN. And then I took political science, and I didn't like it. And I was like, there's got to be something else out there. It all went back.
I want to like what I do.
I want to like my job.
That's inspirational just by itself.
So when I was right before my junior year, I always came back to talk to Dave Fritz and to keep in touch with him, because we were obviously really close since I learned French so much. I was French club president, all that, when I was a senior, blah blah blah. So I went back and I was like, "What do you think about me being a teacher?" And he was like, "Laura, I've been waiting for you to say that." And I was like, "Okay."
Wonderful.
Because you have that sort of mid college crisis that you're not am I doing the right thing here? Am I making the right choice? And I really I was always a French major, but I really buckled down that I wanted to be a teacher at the end of my sophomore year. And so he helped convince me that that was the right path.
Awesome. And yet he didn't push you there.
He never even suggested it.
Another very good teacher.
He just retired after 33 years.
Wow.
2 or 3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like the really good ones stick around and do it for a while. What's the best part about being a teacher for you? Because I know it's different for all teachers.
I think, in my experience, the difference between college professors and high school teachers is that college professors are in love with their content, and high school teachers are in love with teaching young people. And so while I love my content, like I love French, I love everything about French, whatever, I love foreign languages in general. I also study Spanish and speak Spanish, but the best part is being with the kids. I love teenagers. I've always loved them. It's just, that's my age group, you know, that's who I like. Awesome. That's who I jive with. I've always gotten along well with teenagers and just, I don't know, sort of understood their woes kind of thing. And I wanted to be that teacher that Dave was for me, which was, I wanted to be that adult that wasn't a family member, right, that a high school kid could come to talk about whatever they needed to talk about, whether that was personal things or academic related things, because a lot of parents don't go to college and right, they can't help their kids when they're writing essays for scholarships or when they're trying to figure out what to do or how to apply for a loan or any of that kind of stuff. Well, my parents were both college educated, which was, you know, and I graduated from high school. Kind of helpful. But that happened in a time, you know, my mom was one of the first working moms in the 70s and 80s, you know, and so they graduated from college in the 60s, and that even when I was in school, both parents going to college wasn't necessarily a big thing. And still today, lots of parents don't go to college, and so they need help if they want to do that, you know. And I always wanted to be that kind of person, because Dave was that person for me. Like, I got along with my parents great, and they helped me with whatever they could, but it's having that person who you know cares about you but also isn't related to you. I think that's an important adult to have in your life, and so I wanted to be that for kids too. And I think that's my absolute favorite part, is being that mentor that has nothing to do with French, but like a life mentor, you know, where I can be there
and
for
you just
them.
happen to also teach French.
I happen to also teach French, yes. I do.
Would you say that's something that an excellent teacher needs to have? Is it just a passion for teaching young people and helping them thrive?
I think if you want to be good. I think there are two things that are essential in being a great teacher. That is, you have to love your age group that you're teaching, and you have to be a good actor. Because,
you know, stay calm and carry on.
You have to be a good actor, because the truth is, the kids don't care if you were up all night nursing your sick baby, or if your mom is in the hospital dying from cancer, or it doesn't make them bad people. They're just teenagers. They're involved in their own lives, you know, they're their own selves.
And their own life is the biggest thing in their life.
It's what they're, you know, that's what teens do. They're obsessed with their own life. Of course, it's totally normal. It's totally normal. But honestly, when they come to school to learn,
they expect
you to be on, you know, they expect you to be there to teach them and so they can learn. And so you have to learn to be a good actor. And if you have enthusiasm for what you teach because you love the kids, not just because you love your content, but because you want the kids to be entertained, and let's be honest, their whole life is about being entertained. TikTok and YouTube and Instagram Snapchat is all about entertainment. They want to be entertained all the time. They are absolutely addicted to technology. Now, some of that isn't their fault. They've grown up with a phone in their hand. You know what I mean? They don't know life without internet. That's not their fault. That's just how they grew up. It just is different from you and I. And I think
that's not wrong. It's just different.
Wrong. And we blame that on them. As I'm almost 50, and Gen Xers like to blame the internet for everything that's wrong with young people. Okay, well, that's not true.
It also makes what's right about young people
right
too. So
yes,
balance.
Yes, their phones are a huge problem, but also it's not their fault, you know what I mean, that they grew up with technology and that's the way kids grow up now. So you have to step outside of yourself as an adult and be like, okay, how are they living, and sure, you can compare it to the way you live, but it's not that time anymore. It's not the 1980s anymore. It's not the 1990s anymore. And that's okay. And try to meet them halfway, you know what I mean? So I don't have one of those, a lot of teachers have one of those little, those shoe things that you can put, they make the kids turn their phones in at the beginning of class so they can't have them or whatever. The pocket thing, yes, thank you. And I don't want to do that. Because it's a choice. This is, you know, taking a foreign language. First of all, it's a serious class for serious students. It's for college-bound students, four-year university college-bound students. And if that's not you, if you'd rather be on your phone and you don't want to learn, then please take another class that you would actually really like to learn in. You know, it's an elective.
It takes all types.
And I am so lucky that I teach an elective, because my husband teaches history, and you need 3 years of history to graduate from high school in the state. So, and from Wentzville. So you know what I mean? Like, I'm very spoiled when it comes to teaching motivated students, because 99% of them are super motivated to want to learn because they chose to be here. They wanted to learn it for some reason. So that does not escape me how spoiled I am where that's concerned. I'm absolutely appreciative of that, and I recognize that I'm very lucky where that's concerned.
That you are, but it's also great to acknowledge that you are.
Yeah.
And really truly value what you do every day and love it and enjoy it like you do.
I think humility is a good trait in a human, so I try to be.
Yeah, in any human.
I try to.
Not just teachers.
No, I try to practice humility and, you know, but be grateful, you know, count your blessings.
Yes. So with your French class, I know you're also the sponsor of the French club.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? What are you guys doing lately?
So this is my National French Week, the official National French Week. Official National French Week was earlier in November, but this has just kind of worked for me and my kids. And so we have spirit days, so like dress up days where we honor different parts of the French speaking community. So like, for example, today's Parisian Blackout Day because in Paris they wear all black and whatever, and then Wednesday.
It's very Parisian.
It's a Parisian thing, yes. And so, like Monday was cliche day, so it was like striped shirts and an ascot and a beret, and you know what I mean?
Love it.
So, yeah. And Wednesday was Caribbean Day, where we honored all the islands of the world that speak French. So we wore like beachy clothes or whatever.
Nice.
So we had spirit days, and then this is our big fundraiser of the year is tomorrow. Oh boy, tomorrow's the biggest day of the year for French Club. It's crepe day, so we sell crepes. We sell crepes in the cafeteria.
And we're not
lunch.
talking about, you know, the crepe stringers for parties. We're talking about the really thin pancakes, right, for those of you who've watched that movie.
It is a very thin pancake. The Talladega Nights, by the way.
Yes.
So a thin pancake, and then we do Nutella, whipped cream, chocolate sauce, and powdered sugar. So $2 a pop. Tomorrow's the day.
And do you just do that here at the school?
We do, yeah.
Okay.
So my husband...
Can anybody come in and pick up a crepe?
Well, you have to pay for one. It's $2.
Well, yes, but can anyone in the community stop by the school?
I don't think we'll have enough. That's too bad, because there's 1,700 students that go to Timberland, and now they all eat lunch at the same time. We have a new schedule this year.
That's a busy lunchroom.
Listen, this is my 26th year teaching, and we've always had like A, B, C, and D lunch where, you know, they split up the school. And this is the first time ever where all 1,700 kids eat lunch at the same time. I
can only imagine.
So that gave me some gray hairs for this year. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do so it's not? And we already always had a line, you know what I mean? Because you know, you smell it and you eat crepes.
How on earth are you going to tackle 1,700 all at once?
So I'm pre-making them. That's what happened. So my husband and I pre-made 115 Tuesday night. Tonight I'm pre-making another 100 or so. So then they'll just be ready to go tomorrow. And I'm gonna then the hour before lunch tomorrow. I'm gonna have my class, like we're taking a class field trip down to the cafeteria to start pre-making them, so that then they're all assembled and ready to go. So then when the kids come down and they smell the crepes, we can immediately start whatever. And then hopefully, and then we also will have some batter left over, so we can have the whole smell thing, and that'll kind of be for show, so the kids can watch the other kids making. So I teach the kids how to make crepes, and then I put them in an apron and whatever, and so we have like a little station. I have 3 little crepe makers, and then I have like 3 kids doing Nutella, and 2 kids doing whipped cream, and 1 kid doing chocolate sauce and powdered sugar, and then I have someone collecting the money at the end.
I want one.
But like I'm gonna bring down my phone and my little JBL speaker, and I always play French music, because music is a big part of my class.
It's a big part of life. That makes sense.
I teach about French music, modern French music, as well as some classics and things like that. But I use it as a teaching tool. You know, we analyze lyrics to like find grammar points and vocabulary and things like that. I teach them how to learn.
This sounds like a fun class, guys.
You know, how to learn things through context. But I use music instead. Awesome. I use the lyrics of music instead of like reading passages, because that's
dry and kind of boring.
It's not that I never do that, but I really do it with songs more often, because it's a shorter amount of material, and these kids have a shorter attention span.
Instant gratification.
They just do. You can get an answer to most questions in less than 1 second, or in less than 1 minute, or whatever it is on Google. Mm-hmm. If you ever look, it says, you know, like 0.da seconds, you got this many answers.
You get 40 billion responses. And
So I've had to adjust through the years, you know, like kids are not good at reading anything longer than an article.
A short paragraph.
An article. I mean, like that's as much. Like we do not read a whole book. I stopped doing that because they don't have the stamina.
Okay.
Most kids, I should say. You know,
But
because of the generational
another
difference.
mark of a great teacher, teach the kids how they learn best, not what anybody tells you they need to learn or how they need to learn it.
And just because I learned a certain way does not make that the best way.
It's different for everybody.
And I don't like that when other adults say that, you know, like, well, I learned this way and this way was good enough for me. Absolutely it was. And that
Good for you.
And that might have been the best way, and that might be how even your kid learns the best, the way you learned. But we got to show them a variety of ways so then they can take what's best for them, that speaks to them, that helps them understand it the best. So that's important, and I'm lucky in language where we read, write, speak, and listen every single day. We work the 4 skills every day in my class. So that means you have to do things visually, you have to do things, you know, with audio, you have to make them handwrite things, you have to make them read, you have to make them do all the skills so they can learn everything about.
Full immersion.
Right, and so
at least for an hour.
And you have to work all the skills. You know, and some people are going to be stronger in other things. You might be a great speaker where someone else might be a great listener, but you still have to work all the skills. Just because that's great that you have a strength, and you know what's the easiest. Reading is always the easiest. The brain learns how to
make the sound.
Well, the brain learns to read and write faster than it learns how to listen and speak at this age period. So like when kids learn how to speak their first language, everything is auditory.
Yep.
It's all about hear it, and then repeat back, you know, and then as the parent, you correct your child. But as they have a different brain, I mean, their brain is at a different developmental level now. Their prefrontal cortex is not fully developed yet. Not until you're about 25 does that happen. but they think differently and learn differently than a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old does. So
absolutely,
you can't expect a teenager to learn a language the way they learn English. It doesn't work like that. At least in my experience.
I would agree. In my experience, I didn't either.
So I think that you know, not only do I have to work all the skills because they have to learn all the skills, but that helps the kids that are auditory learners, the kids who are kinesthetic, they learn by doing, you know, so the speakers or whatever. And that's important because not everybody learns the same. In fact, we all learn pretty differently, to be honest. So I'm lucky. I teach a subject where it just lends its hand to doing that easily.
Well, I know that your students appreciate what you do. This translates into their parents are also very pleased with how you teach their child to be excited about something.
That makes me so happy.
And I'm thrilled to meet you. I have not had the pleasure before, and I look forward to hearing what else is going on with French class and how your major fundraiser does tomorrow.
Pray for a good crepe day.
Crepes!
Pray for good crepes.
Well, thank you very much.
Of course.
And
you're welcome.
Everyone, this is Michelle with All In Realtor Team on the Park Bench, Wentzville, and you'll say it better, Madame
Kaiman.
Madame Kaiman.
Madame Kaiman. You can just call me Madame. It's just plain old Madame.
I will call her Madame.
Madame. Thank you.
Thanks a bunch, guys. We'll see you later.